What's good, everybody? So we have some uber fantastic mega cracked based W thumbs up news when it comes to Wuthering Waves. I'm a little bit late to the party here, but I have to say they have absolutely cooked, seemingly, apparently, speculatively. Of course we can't play it yet, but just by words alone they seem to have absolutely been delivered on something we have all wanted for a while: a new permanent endgame mode with no timers, infinite bosses, infinite teams. Yes, we have doubled pilot pawns matrix. I don't know if I'm okay with the name. It seems like a bit of a mouthful. Doubled pilot pawns matrix. I'll be real, that is, change the name. Am I crazy? Like, this name is terrible. This name is absolutely terrible for like an end game. I feel like we should be changing it, but I've gone through this whole thing and I have to say, I think everyone is going to be very, very happy, and it's going to deliver something that people are, you know, going to be very happy and excited about. Okay, so we're going to go through this real quick and give ourselves some thoughts on the whole thing and why exactly it is good. Okay, so after the version 3.0 update, so in order to participate, first of all, in this new endgame mode, you have to rack up a bit of experience points, okay? You can't just will in willy-nilly and expect to do this right out the bat. No, this is an endgame mode for the players. This is the endgame mode for people who are tried and tested endgame veterans of Wuthering Waves, where you need 24 crests in one phase of the Tower of Adversity's hazard zone and reach at least 3,500 points in one phase of the respawning waters torrents in Whimpering Wastes after 3.0 is released. So of course, Tower of Adversity has 36 crests total, so you are going to want to have 24 of those and achieve 3,500 points in Whimpering Waste. So this endgame mode is already telling you something. This is not for the weak. This is not for the poor. I say poor, not as in like monetarily, but like, you know, like poor spirit. I'm not saying you're poor. I'm not saying, well, it's a gacha game, just simply poor and you'll be fine. This is not for the weak-minded. This is not for the poor, weak brains who cannot comprehend combat. This is for the real combat enjoyers, okay? This is for the real combat enjoyers. You gotta rack up those experience points, man. You haven't done your WeWi yet? Go do it right now. You haven't done your TOA? You should probably go do it right now, okay? Because otherwise this game mode is probably going to kick your ass, okay? This is going to kick your ass. No child's game here. No child's game. This is all bite, all action, okay? So rewards, we have 400 asteroids, which is a positive. Modifiers, premium echoes, morphable ones, potions, energy core. Basically, you get a little bit of everything. It doesn't tell us how many of these that they're gonna give us, but like they're giving a little bit of every single important resource. So this is going to be a very lucrative, the asteroids aren't particularly high, but this is going to be a lucrative thing to do when it like resets, because hey, why not? Everything here that you will want, so that'll be a W. So the rules: in double pawn matrix pilot, you set up your teams, select the right power circuits, and complete multiple high difficulty stages. Double pawn matrix pilot consists of 2 major zones: stability accords and singularity expansion. Clear all challenges in the first zone to unlock the next. Completing each stage will earn you points to claim corresponding rewards. Okay, so it's kind of set up like this. So you will have 2 different versions of it. Okay, you have stability accords, which will be the first stage, and then you have singularity expansion, and in each of those stages you will have a bunch of bosses. Ooh, boss rush W. Okay, something people have wanted a boss rush game mode for a long time, and we're finally getting it. See, we've got these 1, 2, 3, 4 bosses right here. Oh my goodness. In stability accords, you will face powerful enemies that appear in sequence. Yeah, so one after the other, which is gonna be cool. You may deploy up to 3 teams with resonators in each team. What the previous team has accomplished will be carried over. The current team will continue the challenge with the damage dealt to the enemies by the previous teams remaining active. So For the first one, instability accords. Oh, I guess this is the okay. So the top here is the kind of the team selector. Oh, I see. The top is the team selector. So you can have 3 teams for stability accords, and essentially you're gonna want to build it in favor of what bosses you're going up against, right? So you're gonna want to make sure that you kind of line up your teams with how far you think you can take them, okay? Because obviously this is gonna be pretty interesting, right? So you're gonna have your 3 teams and you've got your 4 bosses, and you just want to see how far you can take them. So say you have this Cardathea team here, Cardathea, Chicana, Rover. You're able to do the Aero Monkey. Obviously, it's going to be a bit more difficult because of the aero resistance, but you're able to go through the Aero Monkey. You're able to go through Inferno Rider. Is that not Fallacy? What is it? The Aglacio dude. Oh my god. What's the wing? What's it called again? Oh my god. Myriad? No, what's it? Sentry. That's it. Sentry. The bottom one's Lampy, guys. The bottom one's Lampy. I'm talking about the second one. This is Sentry right here. So if you get halfway through Sentry with your first team and then you die, the other team that you have prepped will be next up in line to take over and to continue the boss rush until you manage to get through all 4 bosses, okay? So once one team dies, it's not over. Your next team will carry on. So it's going to be so interesting of how that works and how far you get and how that plays into resistances. Like, you're gonna have to be really kind of like strategic about it and be like, okay, this Aero team is actually pretty strong, but I'm gonna be up against like an Aero Monkey like down the line. Like, am I gonna be able to get through that with this team? Is it gonna take like too long? Like, it's good. You're gonna have to think a lot more about how far, even if your team is strong, how far they're gonna be able to go. And by the time they die, who's going to take over and who are you likely going to fight? So there's gonna be a lot of like figuring out and trying and trial and error when it comes to this game mode, which I think a lot of people are gonna find quite fun. Like, this isn't just like, oh, throw a team in and see what happens. Like, you actually have to think about this a little bit in terms of like team building and what teams you want to put in sequence. So that's going to be really, really awesome, like genuinely awesome. You may deploy 3 teams with 3 resonators in each team. When the previous team is accomplished what will be carried over, the current team will continue the challenge with the damage dealt to the enemies by the previous team remaining active. Huge W. That is awesome. After earning enough points, you can claim the corresponding rewards or be granted access to the Singularity expansion, okay? So you get the rewards, and everyone will be able to do this. Everyone will be able to get all the rewards. And I believe when we go to Singularity expansion, you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't get rewards for doing Singularity expansion. However, you do get bragging rights and maybe titles they might introduce. We'll see. But Singularity expansion is where the real challenge begins, okay? This is the hardcore badass mode, okay? This is for the hardcore players, right? In Singularity expansion, you will face powerful enemies that appear in sequence. So the same premise as the first time. However, there is no limit to the number of teams that you can deploy. You can deploy an infinite amount of teams. Whoever you have, you can deploy an infinite amount of teams. You're not restricted to 3. What the previous team has accomplished will be carried over, and the current team will continue the challenge with the damage dealt to the enemies by the previous team remaining active. The same premise, okay? Same exact premise, but instead of only being limited to 3 teams, it is an infinite number that you have. Defeating all enemies in a round will open the next round, and there is no limit to the number of rounds. As you advance through the rounds, the enemies you face will have higher HP, but more powerful buffs will be unlocked. After defeating enough rounds of enemies, you can claim the corresponding rewards. Okay, wait, so we do have rewards for this as well. Okay, so we do get rewards for this. Okay, slay. I want to know how far you have to go to be able to like claim all the rewards, and then it just becomes like for fun moment. That's what's going to be like pretty curious of like, okay, in this mode, how many do you have to do before you get all the rewards? And then it's just like for fun. But yeah, essentially unlimited and endless battle mode, essentially, with unlimited bosses, unlimited team usages. They get stronger after every, so there's like I think there's like 4 of them in every round, and then the next round the next set of 4 will have the buff. So it's not like every boss gets a HP buff, it's every round of 4. Okay, 4 bosses, you successfully clear the round, next round another 4 bosses, higher HP, they have higher buffs. That's how that works. In Double Pawn Matrix Pilot, you can select power circuits before starting the challenge to gain buffs in combat. This is pretty cool. So you're able to choose things like what kind of buffs do you want? You want to make sure they match what you're fighting, or do you want to help your resonators out in a certain way? What's going to help them the most? That's going to be pretty cool. Resonator enhancements. This is the thing that I think is really goddamn cool. In Double Pawn Matrix Pilot, certain resonators will receive special skill enhancements. We have all been wondering this. Are 1.0 units going to get any kind of buffs in endgame modes? Are we going to see buffs added to these 1.0 characters? Well, it seems like Kuro is answering that question for this mode specifically. Only specifically this mode, we're gonna see buffs to 1.0, some 1.0 characters, okay? Shang Liao, Zaza, Changli, Jinxi, Yinlin, Jian, okay? That seems to be what is showcased here, okay? They are gonna get some extra buffs. We don't know exactly what that means for skill enhancements. Like we see here, I think that's his like that's like Jian's liberation, right? So they're getting some kind of enhancement to, I think that probably biggest damage dealing attacks in some way. Like that's gonna be pretty awesome. Calculator, well, it seems like Calculator doesn't have a buff here. Maybe you need to select it. Who knows? Maybe that's how this is, but we'll see exactly who has all the resonator enhancements. So they're going to be able to deal a little bit more damage. So when you slot them in your teams, because let's be real, guys, power creep does exist in WoW. At this point, it's mainly because of a team composition thing rather than like individual like damage necessarily, but the team compositions in WoW have gotten to the point where like, yeah, overall teams will be doing like more damage, right? So having these like enhancements I see is only being like a good thing. I would like to see this kind of system implemented in like Tower of Adversity or Whimpering Wastes at some point too, but because they've chosen selectively to add it here and not into the other like modes, maybe they're either saving it for another update to kind of surprise people, or they're never gonna do it for those other game modes. It's one of the two, okay? It's gonna be one of the two. We don't know what exactly it will be, but I think this is a great compromise rather than upgrade a whole character's kit, because no one cares about like damage boost to upgrade when you're in the overworld, because it doesn't really matter, okay? But endgame is where it counts. So having it selectively happen in an endgame, I think is good. I think it also helps with balance. I think it really also helps with balance, because say like you upgrade a character's skill, okay, but maybe the balance is kind of off, you're able to like change the buff like this way rather than having to change a whole character kit if it's like been reworked or something like that. So I actually think this is pretty smart to include it specifically in endgame mode, so they're able to like test the enhancements on the characters, and maybe if they like them they might implement them globally to other things too, who knows? But this seems like a really good way to test enhancements of older characters and see what works and see what brings them up to speed or not, or whatever it may be, if it's useful or whatever. So I think this is a W. I think this is a mega win for the 1.0 havers and 1.0 enjoyers. Vigor! I'll be real, I think the Vigor system in like TOA is one of the worst implemented things, but I understand why they do it. I understand why it exists. It's just very annoying. It's just extremely annoying, but it seems we also have a Vigor here as well. Each time a resonator participates in a challenge, 1 point of Vigor is consumed. Resonators with 0 Vigor cannot be deployed. Vigor is calculated separately for Stability Accord and Singularity expansion. So you have one set of Vigor for one and then one set of Vigor for another. And it's important to note, okay? It's important to note that like not every character has the same amount of Vigor. Apparently, we don't know if it's because these characters have already been used once and that's why they're only showing one, but here Shorekeeper has 2. Verena has 2, so Buling has 2. Some characters have 2, some characters have 1, and obviously when they get used up they go to 0. I have a feeling they're all gonna start at 2. I don't know if this is saying that supports will have like 2 specifically and everyone else has 1, maybe, I don't know. But like some of them are showing 0 so that they've been used, so I don't know, maybe they start with 2, maybe they start with 1. We don't really I don't know. I feel like they should tell us, because this leaves me to like question. This leads me to question. Okay, so like here we got 2 1 1 1 1 1 2. It seems a bit like picky and choosy what's 2 and what's 1, but I don't think if I were to hazard a guess, I would say maybe everyone gets 2, but I don't know. We'll see. Doesn't the Vigor hit only exist if some characters can't be used multiple times? No, exactly. But they've been selective on who has 2 and who has 1. I don't know if I like that necessarily. I don't know if that's whatever, but we'll have to see. I will have to see what the actual Vigor numbers are when we use it, but I assumed everyone could only be used once. Right, that's what my initial assumption was, but apparently not. Some characters have 2, and I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the fact that only some can be used twice. I understand that supports are important, like Shorekeeper is important for a lot of teams. Not every team is gonna want to have like a healer, so maybe they're like, oh, you know, let's just let you have some more supports because we can, and you're going to need them. I don't know. We'll have to see. What exactly the Vigor distribution is when we go into 3.0. Only support have 2 Vigor, but we don't know if this is like for certain though, right? Like, I don't know, like it doesn't say that like for certain, because some are 1, some are 2, and here some are 0, right? Like some are 0, so like we'll see. But if it is the case that the supports are 2, I understand why, because supports are important for like the teams, and there aren't like a overabundance of supports. Okay. Each time a Resonator participates in a challenge, 1 point of Vigor is consumed. Resonators with 0 Vigor cannot be deployed. Vigor is calculated separately for Stability Core and Singularity expansion. Demo Resonators. In Double Pawn Matrix Pilot, you can use Demo Resonators in support. Get 2 cups of vinegar. You can use Demo Resonators in combat. Demo Resonators are available if you own the corresponding Resonator. So, if you own a character but you haven't built them yet, you're going to be able to utilize a demo or trial version of that character that is built with weapon at 90 and has echoes. Obviously, those echo sets might not be perfect or the best, but they should be enough to help you get through stuff. So, maybe, you know, you're like me and you have a couple level 1s lying around that you haven't like bothered to max out yet, like me with my Zozo, or you're going to be able to use them. So you can actually stack them up early to get all your like early hits off with each of these boss rushes, which is again awesome. This is such a W player friendly thing. What's the point of Demo Resonators if you haven't? Okay, not everyone has built every character. Okay, this is the point. Not everyone has built every character. Some people still have characters they need to build, and this allows them to participate in this endgame mode even if they haven't built them yet. Okay, they've already got the characters, they've already spent the astrites, they've already purchased the character, whatever it may be. This allows them to just use them. They're probably not going to be the best, right? Yeah, it's they probably aren't gonna perform the best at all. That's the trade-off, right? Like, you get a built character, but it's not gonna be built as good as if you built it yourself, but it's there, so you're able to fill out as many teams as possible, because that's the important thing. This isn't, you can have an infinite number of teams, so I like the fact that they added the demo feature, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole point, is the infinite amounts. You can use Demo Resonators in combat. Demo Resonators are available if you own the corresponding Resonators. Each Demo Resonator is set to level 90, equipped with a 90 weapon and a correct echo set. They inherit the resonance chain from your own Resonators. W. I think we'll have to see what exactly the builds are. I think it's okay if they're not the best builds ever, because that incentivizes you to build your own, right? But I think for the purpose of like this whole end game, I think this is a big W. So guys, let me know. Guys, what do you think? Type 1 if you think this is a W end game. Type 1 if you think this is W end game. Type 2 if you think this stinky. Type 2 for stinky, type 1 for W. 1171 Yeah, I can't think of anything about this that I'm gonna say. I'm tired. Wait, you're getting timed out, buddy. You can't. Nah. Bro, I just timed bro out for 6-7. That was not okay. I just no, okay, you're gone too. Yep, we're not doing that here, boys. You're getting a 30-second timeout if you do that. They probably won't compared to the normal build. How many asteroids does it give and how often does it reset? Well, we don't know how often it resets, but the whole thing, they say 400 asteroids plus a bunch of other useful resources, which is gonna be pretty interesting. Okay, so we don't know how often it does reset, but you at least get 400 asteroids and a bunch of other stuff. But I wish they would name specifics. I do. I don't like the fact that they're kind of vague about it. I wish they gave specifics. Oh my god. Oh my god. Leave. Perish. Perish in Minecraft. So that's kind of it. So my thoughts, it better reset frequently, but here's the thing. I feel like this endgame is for fun. This is an infinite, endless endgame mode, right? So I feel like it's going to be really quick to do to actually get the 400, and it takes as long as you want to do the rest, right? Lower comparison to the rest of endgame modes, right? But the difference being is this is meant to be, I feel this is meant to be like the flex endgame mode, where it's less about the asteroids and more about the how far can I push my teams. That's what this is, and I think that's perfect because people have been wanting this. No time limits, just the power of your teams. How long can you go for? Like, that's like the real, that's like people who care about the combat, right? This is for the people who just care about the combat. They care about the strength of their characters, and they want to see how far they can go, right? They just want to see how far they can go with this kind of thing. And that's kind of it. And I think it's awesome. You think this would be monthly reset for the rewards? Probably, considering everything else is like a monthly reset. I would assume this was too, but they kind of stagger it, right? So like 1 week TOA resets, a week later Wuthering Waves resets, a week later this resets. So like every week there will be like a reset. That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to have like 4 endgame modes eventually that are all staggered, and then every week there'll be a reset of something. So there's always something every week for you to like log in and do, which I think is gonna be, that's gonna be pretty cool. This is a trial endgame, right? I feel so. I don't know if it's trial, but we'll see. It's an event right now. It's an event, but I think this is, if it becomes a permanent endgame, I think this is exactly what people want, and we just have to wait and see if it's actually like good. Okay, yeah, Genshin took 4 years. Yeah, bro, Genshin took 4 years, and in the span of a year and a half, we have what, 3 like potential like endgame modes for Wuthering Waves. Devs listen, based. Everyone's getting on their knees for so lonely. Okay, everyone is absolutely getting on their knees for so lonely. This has been absolutely W. I appreciate y'all. I'm excited. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Twitch.tv/Captain Cabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.